What up, gang? Welcome back to the live streams. This is your boy iJack Pips. Back on this, let's go ahead and see this live recap of what happened today during the US 30 launch from 7 in the morning and beyond. And we'll go ahead and get that going. Looks like a good day today. Let me go to Forex Factory. Let's see what was the news for today. What up, my cow? Hope you're having a great morning. Let's do this, guys. Forex Factory. Let's switch the screen of Forex Factory. Alright, so this was today. Good amount of news at 8:30. Some medium kind of folders. Red folder, GBP. There's going to be a little bit more action coming in now from 12 p.m. and beyond. And that's kind of it. Let's look at tomorrow. Ooh. Sheesh. 10 in the morning is going to be great for tomorrow and beyond. So I'm pretty sure that US 30 tomorrow is going to have some big moves. Let's go ahead and ride that wave. Wednesday. This looks interesting. Alright, guys. So we have some pretty good news all this rest of last month. Thursday's looking okay. Friday looks like another great day. Alright, so let's do it. October the 1st will be Friday of this week. And we'll welcome October. Let's see what October has in store for us. Hopefully most of the pairs that we've been trying to kind of hawk will go through. Back to the charts. Alright, so in the first place, let's go to the daily. Let's look at those signals. Let's see where they're at now. Alright, so the dollar back at entry, 93.350 is our entry. We're waiting for it to wick back to the downside and start to sell. So this is a great trade idea, guys. Do not miss out on this because this is back at entry, and Euro USD kind of touched our entry at 1.16900. We're waiting for it to go back to the upside, just like the dollar will fall. Okay, so if the dollar falls, Euro USD will go up, as well as AU, GU, and NU. Those are every single one of the signals that we have on the daily. I've just been waiting for them to kind of mature. They've been a little bit, you know what I mean, like early, because this was the start of the month, right? The start of the month, it literally went up, it went back down to entry now at almost the end of the month. So from our entry, it went up 150 pips, 144 pips. Again, guys, remember on a dollar, $144. On a 0.05, you cut that in half, that's around like $76, right? And then you cut that in a quarter and you continue to cut it. That's how much you're going to end up winning. So right now, what we're going to wait for is possibly for it to want to range back down. If it doesn't touch the advanced buy limit and it decides to go back to the upside, we'll go ahead and have this popped entry in, wait for it to spike up, and then fall back down, and then hopefully then continue to spike up. But these are great entries as long as the dollar seems like it will fall to the downside. I've already drawn it out, the prediction that we're kind of waiting for, and divergence has been showing throughout. Right now, there's no other high that has topped this area over here of the chart, so we're good. But these are our entries, guys, all right? This is doing well. We're waiting for gold to take off. On the smaller time frame, this is large key, guys, all right? Look, I feel like gold is going to be popping to the upside soon. Why? Because it's grabbing support from this area, okay? Now down here. Yeah. These would be all your entries in gold if you wanted to hold buy limits or buy stops, rather, for them to kind of pop through, because that's the course of gold. Right now, you can see the Wyckoff method happening. It's just going to spring right here and start coiling, and then it's going to shoot back to the upside, guys. Don't miss out on gold. Silver is down here. I know that there's a bunch of squigglies and stuff, but what it really just means is that we're seeing that it's grabbing support from this area, right? The liquidity that was down here before this move, that it started to shoot up and people were making profit, and then shot it back down to take out these buyers over here, right? And it filled in the wicks of these areas. So it went ahead and took out liquidity. Now where we're going to want to see silver happening as well is to start pushing back to the upside, just like gold as well. Gold, big brother, silver, little brother. Copper, we called it so fire. It was crazy. That's on one of our live streams a little bit earlier on in the month. I think it was last week, if I'm not mistaken, around like Monday, Tuesday. That shit was, it was live. Yeah. So we did the copper analysis for one of the live streamers, and yeah, it popped off, right? So it went to the upside exactly as expected with our drawing, right? Look at that. Beautiful. On the daily, we were seeing how there was past support right here being, it might have touched and then started to shoot back to the upside. But I feel like copper is also going to continue to buy. You probably fill that in and then start to sell back to the downside, grab some more consolidation and start to go back to the upside. All right, let's look at other stocks and Forex pairs. AUD CAD, I'm waiting for this to buy to the upside. Why? Because we see the divergence from here all the way down. So we drew a trend line from this point of resistance. Since the divergence started at this point, we need to grab it from that level of resistance all the way down, and we can see how we didn't go over any candles, just the wicks. We still placed it on a red candle. We waited for the breakout. That was our entry, the 50%. And then we'll wait for it to continue to go and pump back to the upside. It's grabbed a lot of liquidity down in this area, and I'm just waiting for it to kind of form back that Wyckoff method pattern and then back to the upside. Okay, ADJPY looking all right. Euro CAD, This is another pair that I wanted to continue to buy to the upside. Despite this little drop, it's just going to go up, down, up, down, up. This is on the daily time frame, so this are like longer signal calls, right? You wouldn't really be like expecting all these type of points overnight. You'd be expecting them over a month, over half a month, but you have to hold it through because it just continues to give, right? Euro JPY's buys. These are our entries. It touched on September 21. We gave this out around the start of September. It's on those live streams. If you go back on my profile, you go into streams, go to September 1, 82 pips up. Now I went back down, then it touched advanced entry, and now it's up 156 pips from the advanced entry. And I feel as though it'll continue to go back to the upside, then possibly crash down just like this wave. So you'll have some time to continue to profit, but at some point it's just going to continue to the upside large. If not here, then it'll do one more and then continue to the upside. That's what I'm waiting for this. GBP CAD, I see it returning back to the upside. What I'm waiting out of GBP CAD is because right now it's stuck in this little range from this point of liquidity all the way down to this range. So we drew a Fibonacci retracement tool so that we can see where it's going to go ahead and touch. If it touches a golden zone, we're most likely that it's going to come back to the upside to retest these highs. And then if it sees that it can't go back up, then it'll start to sell back down, and then we'll just sell GBP CAD. But that's a whole different method that I'm exercising on it, just because it doesn't really show as much divergence on the larger time frames. So we got to attack it from a different angle. So over here, GPCHF, there was great divergence, and now it's kind of stuck in a weird consolidation phase to the downside. And I'm not sure why it's doing that, but if you go on the weekly, it's basically just grabbing more entries for people selling, for people buying, but I don't really see it as anything else than just stuck in a range. So I grabbed the box and I placed it from high to low, and I'm waiting for it to break out of this box to the upside or break out to this box to the downside to show another entry for GPCHF. USD CAD, I still see it selling. You're still in good timing because the advanced sell limit is up here. Perhaps it'll visit it one more time and then start to sell back to the downside. I kind of drew this out. This is what I'm waiting for it to happen. So even if it comes back up, bang, bang, and bingo. From the advanced sell limit, let's say it visits this area over here, that's 246 pips. And from our regular entry, that'd be 114. 114 and 246 is a good amount of pips, guys. USD JPY, I still see it selling, even despite this climb. There's nothing that's told me on the daily that USD JPY is going to continue to the upside. Let's look at the smaller time frames and try and understand why this has happened. Alright, so we can see how it grabbed support from this area over here. Over here, it shot up, came back, revisited, showed heavy divergence on USD JPY. Look at that. So what is divergence, guys? Divergence, right, a very quick recap of it is from this candle. I'm going to grab it from this candle all the way down to this one. This is what we're trying to look for. This looks like a escalator going downward, right? Like step ladders going downward. the price is just going down. If I change this into a line chart, which you can find here, you see it going down. Let's see what the RSI says. Well, let's draw a white line on it, a white trend line, just for a visual representation of what we're seeing on the chart compared to what we're seeing on the RSI. If you open up the RSI, you can see that from 26 in the morning all the way through to 21:19, it was going upward. But on the chart, price is going downward. All right, that's divergence, guys. So all we would have to wait is for these green candles to show us the first bleed out candle. So recovery followed by a bleed out candle. We grab it from the last level of resistance and we draw a trend line right on top of the wick of the red candle. The wick is important because at some point price did go ahead and touch this area. So that's why you wouldn't want to be drawing it on the actual candle body, because that wouldn't be as accurate as knowing that it's going to possibly touch this area, and if it drops back down, you didn't get into an entry and you didn't lose your trade. That's why we always do the things the same way every single time. It has to be on top of the red wick of this candle, of the first bleed out candle. That's step 2. Step 3, wait for a breakout. Which candle broke out? This one right here. How did that candle break out? What does that mean? Okay, a candle breakout means that candle broke out of this trend line. This trend line pierced, this candle pierced it through, this candle's body pierced it through here, this candle's nipped it here, so that's not a complete breakout. This one broke out. Once it broke out, very tight with the trend line, that's where you draw your first buy limit. Your second buy limit is an advanced entry. Go to your toolbar on drawing panels. All right, over here, you go to drawing panels. You go up here to the third box. So you have the first box for your coursers, your second box for your lines, your third box, and it's up here, fib retracement. You're going to grab that tool and you're literally going to draw it from wick to wick on the last red candle of the divergence phase. So what was that divergence phase? From this candle all the way down to this one, we throw into a line chart. You can see it descending, falling. But on the RSI, you saw it rising to the upside. A squiggly to the upside, squiggly to the downside. Bang. You wait for it to recover. You draw the trend line on top of the red candle. You wait for the green candles or red candles to break out of the trend line. You draw a buy limit right through and you use that as your entry. And then you go to the 50% of the fib. The Fibonacci, you draw it on the last red candle of the divergence phase. You draw the fib on it. You grab the 50% right here. And then you weight that as your advanced entry. And that's how we get our entries. So this entry would have gave us around 141 pips right now. But on the daily, like I said, I'm still waiting for this to fall. On the 1 hour, time is fractal, so you could get entries on the 1 hour, understanding that this was just consolidating for a large time. And right now, it broke out of the box to the upside. We still see it on a larger time frame that is going to be falling. Even on the weekly, okay, look at that. Divergence on the weekly between this one, and not this, because it hasn't overtaken it. But when we from here all the way to this candle, we throw this into a line chart. Look at the difference. This is going lower but higher, and this one's showing higher but lower. So lower, higher, higher, lower, showing divergence through our indicator as well. So our indicator is just lining it up, telling us, hey, this is divergence. What do? Red's followed by green, right? The opposite of what we do when we're looking for buys. When we're looking for sells, we're waiting for price to go ahead and sell and then show us the recovery candle. So bleed out, recovery candle, trend line from the last level of support all the way through. Don't eat through any candle bodies. If you're nipping it, that's okay. Right under the green wick. Did we draw it under the green wick? Yeah, absolutely. Why? Because we're drawing on top of the red wick when we're trying to look for buys. We need to draw it under the green wick or blue wick or whatever type of bullish candle wick, color you have, right under the wick, so that we're respecting that price did go down to that area, and that's the maximum it's gone so far. So if it goes ahead and pierces through and it gives you an entry, it's valid. If not, it might just retest the trend line or retest that value and then start to shoot back up. So that's why we have to draw it under the wick and not the body, guys. You don't want to be, you know what I mean? You got to have patience. Hi, bro. Gold seller buy. I'm boy 77. Gold is definitely on a buy right now. Brand Rising King still waiting on that invite. Yeah, absolutely, Madeira J. Can you please send me another DM through Telegram, bro? I don't know if you sent me one already or not. It's been kind of crazy, kind of weak for me. So please excuse the tardiness and as well the negligence, bro. I'm so sorry. I will send you a DM right now to confirm an invite, and then that'd be really awesome. But thank you for tuning into the live stream. Valdez, hello. What's up, my friend? I hope you're getting a lot of good values so far. Let's go ahead and continue. And let's see if we can get any entries for US 30 now at 12 p.m. Hey, Jack. Morning, mate. What's up, bro? Welcome back to the live streams. Really happy to see you here. Awesome. So let's do this. Another entry, USDJPY, waiting for it to touch advanced and start to then sell back to the downside. Find that pressure up here and just fall back down. This filled in that gap. Tesla, I've been saying that over and over and over and over again. And finally, yep, within Friday to then Monday, it happens. Very happy to see it filling in that gap because I suspect Tesla now going back south to the downside for a little bit until they start launching new stuff. I want to see Netflix go downward. Amazon, not really so sure about this. AMC with this little gap. I wanted to touch our entry at 34.85. GPAUD showing divergence right here on the daily. So these are our entries for the sell. It might just touch advanced entry again and then contest and go back to the downside. Let me delete these green lines. This is what we want GBP AUD to be doing, guys. That's a sell. CRISPR Therapeutics, I would buy it, hold it long term. NZDJPY, we're kind of finding a little bit of a range right now. Hopefully it does touch our entries again and then falls. This is around 290 pips that were secured with a wick to the upside, back to the downside, right? So let's not miss out on that again. PUBM, I see it rising back to the upside. Bitcoin, we drew this fib out. We've been talking about Bitcoin and this fib on mostly every live stream that I've done, right? I always go through the Bitcoin, the one that I have charted up, which will do that towards the end of the live stream, guys. We're still a little far from over. We still got around like 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and get into this. Bitcoin right now is finding some good golden area and rejecting from it but the volume is decreasing on the daily. So let's see what happens to Bitcoin. I see it coming back to the upside, but if it does reach other lows, I don't see it dropping more than this 0.618, 38, maybe 36, but I don't see it just dying out to 25 or anything else below, to be honest. I'm still very bullish on cryptos. Look at that. Just give it time, guys. All right. Gold is in a sideways trend for today. Blew my Sunday streak on Nasdaq this morning. Too many contract. Took long from open to break above trend. Rode it down into the dirt. Jesus Christ. Michael. Okay, I got you, bro. All right, Michael. So I can't help but smile, bro, because you already know the situation. This shit is, to me, I'm just like, too many contracts. So you went ballistic with it. Let's see how you were looking at that bullish. I mean, I have no idea because US 30 was hella bullish, but it started at 8:30 though, so I'm not sure if you got in maybe too late. Let's go ahead and give a recap of that because that's what I wanted to come here and do. So it says live recap, live analysis, and live signals. The live signals are for the daily time frames right now, guys, and as well gold on the lower time frames on the 1 hour and on the daily time frame. Gold is in a sideways trend for today. It closed last week with a Morningstar doji, and it did go all the way to 1759, but now it's stuck between 1747 and 1755. Alrazine and BTC may go 30K. Jesus Christ. What type of mindset is that? How would you? Nah, I'm kidding. But yeah, I mean, what I mean by what type of mindset is how would you go back down to 30? That's wild, guys. If it goes back down to 30, I'd even be shocked myself. I see it grabbing support in this area because this is the last level of resistance, correct? So last level of resistance becomes a new level of support, and I see it grabbing traction back to the upside. It might visit a new low, but I don't see it towering down more than 35 grand. I don't see that happening. But if it does, then you're definitely right. BTC will go down to 30K. What up, One Bad Eye? Nice to see you back on the live streams, my brother. Just before open. Okay, so just before open, 9:30 in the morning, you're telling me that you bought Nasdaq. All right, let's see. All right, so Bitcoin again. Let's be a little bit patient, but I see it going bullish, guys. I don't know about, you know what I mean, this whole vibe of this just going back down to 30. But if it does, all right, cool. You know what I mean? We'll go ahead and see it from a different perspective. And on the daily, then I want to see it kind of crash against the bottom of our RSI and then want to show divergence. And we'll just buy it back up, guys, and hold that to the long piece. That means that all altcoins like Litecoin, XRP, Ethereum Classic, OMG, Polkadot, Baba, Shibu, OMG, Cardano. Okay, Cardano's a little bit different. All right, Cardano's on its own wave. I see Cardano selling. I see Sol USD. I see Luna USD selling. But besides those altcoins, every other altcoin, I see it coming back to the upside. Dogecoin right now is at retail pricing, 20 cents. It might come down. If Bitcoin goes down to 30K, I see this probably falling to 15 cents around here to find support. If not, it's just going to break through here and possibly revisit 7 or 6 cents, which is scary for the future of Dogecoin because I'm not quite sure how many people will want to gladly invest it again after losing so much because they're still holding investments now at 20 cents. I, for one, think 20 to 25 cents is absolutely great investment for Dogecoin in the long term. But right now, let's see what happens with Bitcoin because Bitcoin will lead the other altcoins, guys. Okie dokie. Now let's go into Nasdaq gas pack. Let's see what happened today with Nasdaq. Oh uh-huh. Oh, Jesus of Christ. Oh my. Okay, bro. I totally understand what happened now. That's wild. 9:30 was right here, and it just literally dumped to the floor. And then it showed divergence. But you see, I think you jumped the gun because you traded at open, but trying to predict it. And I know that it was showing divergence here, right? From here to here. But bro, I've said it on the live stream. Nasdaq gas pack is a deceiving person. You gotta be careful with her. She don't play around. She is savage life. Look at that. From the last level of resistance, which would have been this area over here, divergence was shown. Green followed by red candles. Recovery followed by red. It's too early. Green followed by red. Trend line. Literally, the breakout happened here, and it only went up, what? 21 points and just dumped down. How much did it dump down though? Jesus Christ, 100 points. Then it showed divergence again, right? So you can't throw all your money in one pot, guys. You need to use it and be patient with it and grow it slowly. At least you guys would know that in 1 week, 2 weeks of just diligent trading over and over again, you will break out of that cycle, guys. You just have to be patient and you have to trade with the market. This was a good trade idea though, not gonna lie, this over here, it did show divergence. I would have even seen this. I would have traded this trend line and I possibly would have been in this one and also lost this trade, to be real with you. But when it showed divergence again, you best believe I would have waited, greens followed by red, right? Even I would have a trend line like this from this level of resistance. So divergence, green followed by red, trend line break, you would have already been in. If not, you drew your trend line this way, boom, it broke out, you would have been in. How much would it have bought back up though? Around 68 points. So it wouldn't have gave you the recovery of this drop, but then again, it would have gave you at least 68 pips. It then showed divergence again between this to this. Draw your white trend line just for a visual representation of what's going on. From this candle all the way to this candle. Draw a trend line from the level of support. So now you're inverting the strategy and you're waiting for the breakout to happen again. You would have been in these entries right here. It would have dropped another 50. So 68 plus 50 is now 110 pips. It would have gave you just a, you know what I mean, like a, I guess a break even, which we don't really like to talk about those or losses, but at the same time, it is realistically what would have happened with Nasdaq gas pack today. I, for one, you know, Nasdaq to me, I don't run to go and do an analysis on it. I don't run to go and give a signal on it. I know that I have because it's been moving the same way with US 30 and SPX 500, but like the same structure, Right now, up to date on Monday and Sunday open, I wasn't really looking at the market too much, so I wouldn't really have known, you know what I mean? Because here on the 1 minute time frame, look at this at 8:13. All right, look, visual representation. This came down, made higher lows. Let's throw this into a line piece. Grab your white trend line from this piece all the way down. And what I'm doing here by grabbing this piece or whatever, or this piece, I'm basically lining it up. If you have the crosshair, so go over here on the white, on the first box, you can put the dot, you can put arrow, you know what I mean, where it doesn't have the crosshair, as you can see. You put eraser, and I guess you can, I don't know what the fuck you can do with this. I still haven't really used it. I guess you can erase like a drawing. Let me see. Nope. All right. So that's why I don't use that. So I use cross. So the cross, when you line it up, right, you leave it. Don't move it with your mouse. Look up and down. Okay. When you look up and down, you're seeing this low right here, and it's lining up with the RSI. So let me go ahead and make it a little bit bigger, the RSI. Let me make this chart bigger so that we can see what I'm talking about. Do you see that? How it literally lines up with 27 September 21, 8:15 in the morning Eastern Time. Right now I moved it wrong because a minute just kind of went by, but if I put it back, you can see it's lining up with the RSI and with the chart at this low. Now, here, it made a higher low on the RSI, but a lower low. Look up and down. Look at the distinguish the differences between the RSI and the chart. Now continue to drag that line sideways. And even to this point, look at this low. This is the all-time low on the chart that was showing divergence, but where is it on the RSI? It's all the way up here. And if I draw a vertical line on this, you can see how that's this low right here. So like pinpoint it to the T, right? Let me delete this. Now go back into the graph, and there you go. So what happened afterward, right? It went up, red candle. Where's our last level of resistance? All the way up here. Draw a trend line. You would have had to wait it up to like right here. Let me draw this a little bit smaller. Alright, so the last level of resistance all the way up here. Go ahead and connect it. Recovery, red candles, trend lines too tight. It would have ate through some candles. If I would have drawn this here on top of the red wick, look at it eating through the candles. So if you look at this over here, it broke out, went back to the downside, and then recovered. So this would have been our trade idea right here, our advanced entry at the last candle from wick to wick that showed divergence, correct? Guys, the strategy replicated over and over again, infinite amount of times. This would have been our advanced entry. This would have been our regular buy limit. Guess what? Would have gone down from our buy limit, right? Touched. Would have dragged us to the downside around 120 points, which is 12 points on SPX 500 is 120 points with $1. Okay, so it would have hit our stop loss. We would have then put this as a buy stop, so it would have came back up, banged it, and even if we had it as a buy limit, wicked back in and took us back to the upside. It would have touched our advanced entry, and it wouldn't have bumped us out at 80 points. Okay, that's our stop loss, 80 points for everything. Right here, we can see how it supported those 80 points, then it started to come back up, and it bought up to a total of 150 points back to the upside. You recovered the 80 points you lost here. You're up 50, right? Let's see, 150 minus 80. Yeah, I think that's 50. No, that's not 50. That's 70 points. The fuck? All right, so 70 points up, and this on the buy stop that you would have ate off of this back to the upside, 80 pips. So you would have made back the stop loss, broke even on that trade, grabbed the advanced entry, and ate 150 pips. Back at the entry though, do I see this climbing back to the upside for 12 p.m. and beyond, which is now when the news is going to come out? I mean, I would like to see it recover back to the upside. It looks like Wyckoff right here. It went up, kind of tested these resistance levels, came back down to test the support and grab more liquidity, and then maybe go back to the upside. Let's look at the 10-minute to verify. Yup, it showed divergence right here on the 10-minute time frame. Look at it. Between these 2 points, okay, which are these 2 points. Again, stay focused, guys. Same strategy, just a higher time frame. Nothing changes though. Let's see. On this time frame, which is different from the 1 minute. All right, let me hide these quick. Okay, cool. Now we hit those on the 10-minute time frame. Let's do the same thing. Visual representation from this low to this low, which is literally this low to this low. That is showing us on our RSI indicator green from 7 to 820, from 7 to 820. We draw this into a line piece, 7 to 820. That's as easy as it gets, guys. Okay, divergence, greens followed by red, trend line on top of the red wick. It broke out with this candle. You would have bought it at this entry and at the 50% of this candle, which is almost at this entry, and it would have popped to the upside. You would have been in profit. It came back down, but I see it continuing to go back to the upside with time, guys. That's the signal. Now, if I bring this back to see the signal from the 1 minute time frame, okay, we can see how it started over here on the 1 minute time frame. Let's see, from here to here. Let me delete this. Let me delete this. Let me rearrange this. With concurrent with this over here. Okay, over here. On top of the red wick. Here. Broke out here. The advanced entry at this 50% level. There we go. Cool. So now we're just waiting for it to go back to the upside. On the 1 hour, it's showing divergence. So on the 1 hour, now looking very good. Looking like it wants to push back down. On the daily for this, which is the interesting piece of it, because on our earlier live streams, we were saying how this was going to recover because it's happened here and because it happened here and here. May 10 was that day that we caught all of these pips to the downside consecutively in 2 days. That shit was crazy. Then it started to buy back up from then. Now peep this. Big red candle, big green candle recovery. Big red candles, big green candles recovery. Big red candles, big green candles recovery. Big red candles, big green candles recovery. Now it's contesting here, but that doesn't really mean much, right? Because it's already shown divergence. Let's go ahead and say that we were to draw this right under the red, right under red followed by green wick. If SPX 500, if the days to come, all right, correct? It, for whatever reason, breaks this shit to the downside, I see it possibly falling a little bit more. Why? because it finally broke through that 50% line, finally, and reached down to the 32, almost to the 30. It hasn't done that since over here, all right, since COVID. It's reached down to maybe 35, but here, not really. And it came down to literally this tip over here, 32.5, and it dropped through that 50 line, and now it's recovering to the 50 line. But that doesn't mean that it's going to have too much, you know what I mean, hold value there. And if we do see SPX 500 dropping way beyond our expectations, this is just towering down, and there's like a correction in the market because there should have been a correction in the market already, but there hasn't been. So if that happens and we catch that, then perhaps Bitcoin, as Arazine was suggesting, will come back down to 30K, because people will get scared and be like, holy shit, what's going on? Our shit's going down. I'm going to take out my investments to take profit right now that things are as high as they can be, you know, for the time being. And that's going to send shit downward. And then we're going to be able to buy a bunch of stuff. The dollar will possibly sell off as well, which is when Euro USD will be taking off, and all these consecutive things will be happening all at once. So that's what we see for SPX 500. US 30 obviously plays its own ball game on the 1 minute time frame, which is why we love US 30 and it's our bae. Alright guys, so this is our steps and this is how we protect our capital. These are two of the most quintessential rules to be following when trading this strategy, and as well to protect your butts and not lose your monies, right? Because it's very important that you don't kind of jeopardize the money that you're trying to grow. You're trying to grow that, you're not trying to lose that, correct? Okay, so as per usual, look at this motherfucker right here. That shit was fire. This right here was fire. Let's see the open. What happened in the open? 24 to 26. It's right here. A little gap, filled in that gap as expected and started to buy off. Okay. Let's look what happened on the 1 hour. Oh, this is also looking like it might want to fall. That is scary. But on the 10 minute, nah, this isn't looking that fire anymore. Okay, cool. So on the 1 minute, to recap this, right, to give us a recap of this completely, we start to look at these charts at 7 a.m. Okay, 7 a.m. Eastern time, which is right here. The big 7 over here, that's where we start. Why do we start at this level? Because it's important. Early bird gets the worm. You're able to just get, you know what I mean, into the market and stuff, and just be mindset into the market, focus, 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 and be seeing already what's going on. Once you start to see divergence happening, we would have been anticipating it. Why would we have been anticipating it? Because look at over here. Before in London session, which happens from 12 in the morning Eastern time, for all my east side people of the US, 12 a.m. to 7. From 7 all the way down to then 12 p.m. are the sections, okay? These are the sessions. 12 a.m. to 7, 7 to 12, and then from 12 to 4 is US session, which is around 16 GMT, which is 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So between these, you have then you have then you have then we're gonna have oh what? Okay, what's going on here? Alright guys, so we're gonna have a London session, Asian session, London session, US session, London session crossover, which is our game time, and then US session by itself, which is still a good session, but you know what I mean, it doesn't have that huge volatility impact because at 9:30 Eastern time is when US session starts in New York and they're like and shit just starts to go ballistic and all these types of things happen with the London crossover time. London session by itself is still a good session, but from 12 in the morning all the way to 7 is a rough kind of day. But for all you guys around the globe, that is a lot better for you guys to be trading London session. Then don't worry about it. It's just as great. So Asian session is not that prosper, so I don't really fuck with it at all. Okay. Asian session, I kind of just leave it by itself. Don't really look its way at all. It made a gap here. This open, but it closed it. Okay, that's nice. So Asian session, I don't trade it at all. London session is good, but I'm not really awake at those hours. And between 7 to 12 p.m., that's our session. This is why these live sessions will continue from 7, 7:30ish, 8 in the morning, all the way through to 12 p.m. It's around now. So as you can see, right, going back to the upside bullish, let's wait it so that it could continue to climb. But here at 7 in the morning, when we would have started to look at the chart, we saw divergence happen. Let's chart that up quickly from here to here. Last level of resistance. Greens followed by red trend line. Would have broken out here. We would have grabbed the advanced entry from this area. 50%. We found divergence here. That's step one. So step one, find divergence. We found it over here. This is 7 in the morning, so we found the divergence right over here. We then draw a trend line where recovery, red candle wick. Okay, it could have if the trend line still wouldn't have been good. Let's say the trend line would have still been eating through some candles, even when we drew it up here. Then we would have drawn in on the next greens followed by red candle on the wick. That's all we do, guys. We just move it. The first original one is this red candle. Why? Because this was the lowest trading candle. This candle that showed divergence all the way up to over here. From here to here, divergence. Why is that divergence? Because from here all the way down to this candle, that's where it stopped. Then it started to recover. Red candles, right? That's where you draw your trend line from the last level of resistance. But since we're eating through some candles, literally chomping through them, then we would have to wait for the next red candle. We waited for the next red candle on top of the wick. Are we good? No. So I have to wait for the next red candle. The next red candle was all the way up here. Are we good? Yes. It broke out right here, so very tight with the trend line break. And then the advanced entry is that last red candle that was left behind that showed divergence. 50%. That would have been our advanced entry, and as you can see, it would have literally came down around 54 pips, but not the 80. All right, the 80s are stop loss, and then it would have shot up to the upside from this entry today, 195, around 178 pips. So on a 0.01, that's $178, and you just continue to add on from there, and you know what I'm talking about. That is a lot of fucking money, which is why we do US 30 instead of NAS 100 and SPX 500. US 30 is fire. Now, after US 30 just showed this, now it showed a bit of divergence here in this area. From this all the way down, divergence again, red followed by green. Let's grab it from the last level of support, which our indicators are already giving it to us. Red followed by green trend line. Wait for the breakout. The breakout happens right here. Draw your sell limit. Very tight with the trend line break. And you would have grabbed another entry and sold it for another 130. That's like 300 pips. And now that it showed this divergence, it looks like it might want to start climbing back up. So let's delete this. Well, let's leave this here just to show you guys. All right, we start at 7. We see divergence. We draw a trend line. We wait for the breakout. Boom, we buy. We see divergence. We draw a trend line. We wait for the breakout sell. We see divergence again. From 1056 all the way to 1146. Let's chart that up. From 1056 all the way to 1146. That was that last red candle, right? Let's look at our last level of resistance. It's up here. Draw a trend line. Wait for the breakout. The breakout happened. Why did I grab it from this red candle or this one? All right, let's see. If I draw it here, we're eating through these candles. If I draw it on the next red candle, we're still eating through some candles. Try it on the next red candle. On the wick, perfect. It breaks out with this candle. You put in a buy at this level. The 50% is this red candle, because this is the last one that showed divergence between the RSI and the daily time frame. 50% bullseye. That's your advanced entry. It then came back down, right? So it broke out, buy limit, came down into your entry, went through your entry, and bought up an extra 32 pips. So that's like 200, that's 330 pips, more or less. Let's go ahead and count it out. From here, that it did not touch stop loss at 80 points, it touched up, let's say 190, right? 190, and then it sold back down, let's say 120, 110. Let's even say just 110. So 190 and 110, how much is that, gang? That's 300. So 330 pips for today. So pretty good day today. Again, on Forex Factory that I went on and looked at today, it looked like the folders looked pretty hot. I mean, it didn't really look as crazy as it will be tomorrow. Obviously, Wednesday and Thursday, which are great trading days. And then Friday to close out with a bang. They do have some high impact Manila folders. High impact expected. Thursday, some medium impact expected. Wednesday, high impact. Tomorrow, high impact. Today was medium impact. So let's go ahead and see. What up, Scoopy? Nice to see you back. Jamie Griffin, there's a gap at the bottom of the 1 minute. Would it fill in that first? It filled it. LOL. Yeah, it definitely filled it already. I definitely had seen that gap too, Captain, but it had already filled it in, bro. So that was over here at the open. This is what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure the Sunday to Monday open, which I like to see those gaps too, bro. But it happened actually during London session. During London session, look at the divergence up here, bro. RSI indicator charted it up for us. Bop, bop. London session, which is my time, 2 in the morning to 30 in the morning is when London session starts. But I like to start it from 12 in the morning Eastern time where I live. But it showed divergence here. Higher, lower, lower, higher, reds followed by green. Last level of support. We need to grab it at these green candles because, and even at these green candles, we're still kind of chomping through some of it. So let's say we would have grabbed it here. Bang, sell. Literally sold off like crazy. Literally at 3 in the morning, look at that. Right at London session open, that would have been the trade. Sell, boom. Recovered a little bit, maybe to the 50% of this to make that like little half teacup thing. There you go. Golden area, couldn't surpass, and just dropped through that fib back down. Guys, tune in tomorrow for the live trading. Tune in Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for the live trading, guys. If anything changes, I will put up a trade idea with what's going on and stuff like that, or on the next, you know what I mean, whatever, wherever I have the information. If I'm not going to be live streaming, I'll go ahead and tell you guys with time, or maybe I'll log in during the night or whatever and just make like a quick little recap analysis here and there, and then tell you guys through there and maybe label it on the description or something. I'm not quite sure. But follow me on Telegram on the free community chat so that you're able to stay in tune with all the updates and everything going on. 1 minute time frame, guys. I do see it pushing back to the upside, filling in at least the 50% to make that teacup. Let's see it then push from there. Look at that, 0.5 having some struggle. Might go up to 618 and then maybe reverse. Right now, it should have been the news impact that I was waiting for. I said medium impact. There's another medium impact folder at 1250. And that's about it. So not really as much juice. But we went over the strategy over and over again. We flipped it from a buy to a sell, back to a buy. And it's the same process. Find divergence, draw a trend line, wait for a breakout, market execution / buy limit, advanced entry, which is always the last candle that shows divergence. Yeah. And then our tips, our indicator, and why we use it. Draw fibs according to the direction. I'll teach you this, guys, in the next sessions to come. And yeah, that's about everything I can provide. Do you have any questions, guys, before I am to leave? Please write it down in the comment section. Any last pair that you would like me to give an analysis on before I am to go. If not, then I'll be saying my farewells and thank you for tuning into the live stream. I will be live streaming tomorrow earlier on to catch the worm on US 30. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I will be logging in from 7 to 7:30ish Eastern time. I'll try my best to be on and continue the live stream all the way through, just one live stream all the way through to 12 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you guys there. I see no questions being asked on the comment section. Much love, peace, and happiness. Go ahead and rewatch this live stream to see the signals, the daily signals that we do have input, and perhaps if you need a recap on the strategy. Thank you, guys.